Welcome to T-Smack, home of the T-Smack. May I take your order?
Hello there, and welcome to an all-new episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more. I am your host, Josh Scar, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing shelltacular, and it's a pleasure to see you this evening. How are you doing this fine day?
It is an excellent day.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do have some sad news, Alex.
Oh, no.
This will be the last episode of the podcast.
Oh, damn.
With my long hair. It will be getting cut off before the episode officially releases, but the long hair is going bye-bye.
Is this a security requirement or compliance requirement of your job? What's going on?
No, it's a choice because I'm really fucking sick of it getting in my hair and getting stuck in my 5 o'clock shadow and having to maintain it. I'm done with it.
you gotta just. It's got to be permanently tied back in a ponytail. That's all it is.
I don't like tying it back in the ponytail. I just feel like a weird skis ball. Like what's his face in Beetlejuice 2?
Okay, top knot it right on top. Boom.
Then I'm an even bigger fuck nut. You're
a samurai.
I'm a white dude with a top knot. I'm a fuck nut if I do that.
Hey, no. Hey. If Sean Connery can get away with it, and you only live twice, you can get away with it.
I don't think he got away with it.
He did not get away with it. No, he did not. That was uncomfortable for everyone involved.
Very much so. Even I know that one. I haven't even seen that movie.
Okay, all right. My last ditch effort to protect the hair. Have you heard the story of Samson and Delilah?
Yes, but
and
I don't know what it's like in New York City, and I don't know how far 1,000 miles really is. I'm really bad at measuring. But I do have to admit, tonight you do look really pretty.
Nicely done. That took me to the second.
It's what you do to me.
Yep. Oh, it took it to the second verse before I'm like, wait a second.
Yes, it's true. Times Square can't shine as bright as you. All right. So there is a very special thing at the end of the episode, though. We have a very special sponsor. So please make sure you stick through to the end, especially if you're a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think you will appreciate it. It took a lot of work to make this happen. So please stick through the end because we have a very cool sponsorship in line with this. But before we get into anything else, we have to hear from our friends Tim and Joey over at Two Blokes from Blighty on the Game Club pod feed. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm a bloke.
And I'm another bloke.
And we are from Blighty. My name is Joey. I'm joined by my co-host Tim.
Hi.
Where every single Wednesday we come at you through the Game Club pod podcast feed with our show, Two Blokes from Blighty. I tried to think about the kind of topics that we talk about on Two Blokes from Blighty. Tim, what's your favourite topic that we've ever spoken about across our 3 seasons?
The fiasco of me shaving my head.
Mine is the fiasco of you shitting on a toilet seat. If those sound like things you want to hear about, join us every Wednesday by searching Game Club Pod in your podcast provider.
Just makes my life sound a little bit tragic, really, doesn't it?
Would you listen to that show, Tim?
I would.
I don't think I would.
No.
My favorite thing about that is you have to burn through a few episodes to get there, but it kind of reminds me of Ghostbusters Afterlife, where podcast goes, it finds its voice around episode 46. And I'm like, yes, you want to get to that story, but it's a smooth sail up until there, and then that kind of like caps it.
It's true. It's an amazing promo because, among other things, you have to go back and find that episode because Tim hasn't done that many times in his life, and he's not going to tell that story more than maybe once or twice. But speaking of stories being told more than once, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we're going back to 1990. Young Josh is turning 5. Somehow his dad decided to take him to this movie in theaters, and man, was it a blast. I remember hearing Raphael yell "damn" after he loses Casey Jones in a foot race. And I remember so vividly just looking over at my dad and being like, are we staying? We're staying. Awesome. It was not like my Ninja Turtles cartoon.
No,
Them
no.
yelling "damn," I was like, oh, that's a naughty word, right? We're staying. We're staying. Okay.
This movie is just a staple of my childhood. It came out when I was about 5. It's too young. I don't have memories that go that far back, so I don't remember if I saw it in theaters. Like the really first theater experience I'm positive that I was there for was Jurassic Park. Which one came out first, Jurassic Park or Terminator 2?
Terminator 2 is 91, I believe. So Jurassic Park would have been 93.
All right, so I know for sure I saw Batman in theaters because I remember the McDonald's toy. I don't necessarily remember this one. I have a vague memory of crying at the end of Terminator 2, thumbs up. And I know, I mean, like, my recollections of true movie experiences are Jurassic Park. But this movie was such a staple of my childhood, constantly just rewatching it over and over. This one, definitely this one over the second one, watching the cartoons. I remember being a young child and we're playing with my, like, I loved Michelangelo, so I had my my Michelangelo toys. The damn thin plastic of the nunchucks that always broke. He always ended up with one in each hand. You know, like they were like little dynamites looking things. I remember when I was living in Texas, I somehow was like throwing and flipping my Michelangelo and it got on the roof and couldn't get it down. And so we had to wait for a good rainstorm to wash it down off the roof.
Which in Texas, that's like once every 2 years.
It seemed to be, because by the time we got it came down. And I was like, oh, there it is in the yard after a good rainstorm. Picked it up. One side is like bleached white, the shell side. And the other side still as bright as ever. Oh man,
I remember playing Ninja Turtles in my backyard with my friends so many times. Like I remember Donatello was my favorite. I don't know what everyone else was on about with Raphael and Leonardo. Like Michelangelo, I can understand. He's the party dude. Yeah. But Donatello was my favorite. Like the bow staff, just the twirling and everything. So cool. And so like I remember screwing off a broomstick and just having the handle of the broom and twirling that thing around. I still do that to this day. If I ever have something that is a stick-like thing in my possession, I will be doing Donatello style twirls.
Well, I gotta say though, every Christmas when we're done wrapping presents and we have a few tubes, it's a lightsaber fight. We got to fight until one of the tubes breaks.
Speaking of Christmas, this is like my first real Christmas I remember is when the VHS for this movie came out. And I so vividly remember being in the shopping cart, seeing the standee with the VHS in the Cub Foods and begging my mom, can we please get this? And VHS back then were like $50-$40. Like they were not cheap. And my mom was like, no, it's too expensive. And I just remember being so distraught and crying. And then Christmas morning, 1991 rolls around, whenever they released it on VHS. And I get to that VHS cassette. I open it up and I see it. And I literally almost shit myself. Like I ran straight to the bathroom. And there's a picture of me sitting on the toilet with the 1990s Ninja Turtles VHS tape, live action movie, just staring at it while I'm shitting on the toilet. And like for the longest time, I was embarrassed by it. I'm like, I'm a kid, whatever, who cares? I was excited and whatever. I mean, I don't have to justify myself, especially 35 years later.
I just thought it was weird that at your wedding, that was the picture to designate the groom's side of the aisle.
Well, yeah, I mean, how else would you know it was me? If we haven't said it already, we're talking about 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the live action film. This is closing out Nostalgiathon 2025. We might come back if we have some fillers for other things. I think we should go back and talk like Mortal Kombat, even though that movie got pushed. Gremlins 2 is also celebrating 35 years of being released. So like that's something that we need to go back to. Which I have a correction to make from our Power Rangers commentary.
Oh, no.
I thought Paul Freeman was the Vampire Man from Gremlins 2. I think in my childhood, I had convinced myself that when Ivan Ooze is all dressed up in the pale wizard outfit, that he looks exactly like the vampire host from Gremlins 2. And so I just thought they were the same guy. They are not. I realized that very recently, and I was like, oh, well, that's disappointing. I said something on the podcast and on the internet. Now it's there forever. So hopefully I can rage bait some people at the very least. But I do have one real quick trivia question for you. There is a member of Sesame Street that is in this movie. Who is it?
There's a member of Sesame Street in this movie. Okay, live action or voice?
Voice.
Splinter?
You are correct.
Oh, holy crap, really?
Kevin Clash, the puppeteer and voice for Splinter, is... I will give you 3 guesses as to who he is.
Okay, he's not Groucho. Grover.
He is not Oscar the Grouch, no.
Yeah, Oscar the Grouch. Cannot be Big Bird, right?
No, he is not Big Bird.
I swear to God, if he's Elmo, I'm going to throw something.
He is fucking Elmo.
No, he is.
Kevin Clash, the voice of Splinter and the puppeteer, is Elmo. He was the original Elmo.
Wow.
In the 1990s movies, yes.
This movie, so when you go from Ghostbusters and then they start a cartoon and you go to Ghostbusters 2, there was a lot of influence from the cartoon into the second movie, in which they kind of reintroduced it a little bit. They toned down some of the way some of the creepy ghosts look, even though there's some horrifying ghosts in the second one, especially like the creepy museum director walking down the hallway when his eyes light up and stuff. That's terrifying. This movie had a different path in which it was a very violent, amazing comic book.
That was originally written as a Daredevil parody.
Yes, because the same truck that apparently crashes and throws like toxic ooze into Daredevil's eyes to blind him, that one of those containers like tumbles into the sewer and happens to land on 4 turtles and a rat.
Yep.
And
one of my favorite continuities in comic book history.
I absolutely love it. And the turtles are only like knee high or something like that, because originally they were actually supposed to be like actual turtle size, so they're actually only like knee high.
I can't remember. I feel like they were supposed to be like 4'6" or something like that, maybe 4'2". Like they were still relatively small, but obviously large for turtles.
Yeah, but they're not a people size like this.
No, that's something that came out more from the animated series, where the animated series made them more like comic book Wolverine height, where he's like 5'2", so they're also more like 5'4", 5'6", somewhere in there. And then obviously because of the animatronics and the people needed to be inside of the suits, they made them just 5'8", 5'10", 6 foot tall creatures. And
then it was a black and white issue comic because it was independently produced by I never remember their names. Who were the names of them?
Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird.
Yeah, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. They were teamed up together, writing it together, shepherded it together for a long time before one took over, bought the other one out because they were kind of burned out of it, and then the other one sold it to like Disney, Nickelodeon, and then there was some back and forth, and now they're kind of back both associated with it again, right?
They have a really good relationship with, I believe Paramount owns them, or Nickelodeon. Paramount is the parent company for Nickelodeon. But they just have a really good relationship with the company, and they didn't, like, because they own the comic, they were directly involved with the sell of it. So they just have an open invite to come back and do whatever they want every now and again. Like, I believe either Eastman came back or they both came back. I think they both came back for the Last Ronin arc, which is kind of the Dark Knight Returns of the Ninja Turtles universe. I think they announced that they're turning it into a game, which sounds really cool. Basically, what if one of the Ninja Turtles became Batman? But he's also as skilled as all 4 turtles combined, and he's out for vengeance. I believe they're also working on a movie for it, or at least there was like some kind of test footage released for it. I can't remember. But it's like the most popular Ninja Turtles thing in decades amongst older age demographics. But the Ninja Turtles are just kind of persistent. They get rebooted every few years, like the Power Rangers, and they just keep finding new audiences. Like, it's even the worst Ninja Turtles stuff is still not that bad.
There's an amazing The Toys That Made Us about the Ninja Turtles, and it is fantastic. Basically tells how, because the 80s properties were geared towards just making toys. Like, anything could be made. I mean, there were Rambo lines, RoboCop lines, Terminator lines, you know, all this R-rated series. It's like, well, we can make toys of it. Kids will buy it, and the adults will be like, cool. Great history of them, their brief kind of falling out with each other. But there's an amazing moment at the end where they go to like the warehouse with all their original crap in it. It's the two of them hanging out together, and they sit down together for like the first time in like 20 years and start sketching out at like a comic panel together. And you can tell they both give a damn about the property still. They just were two young guys thrown together, massive explosion of popularity. One wanted to move on. The other one was like, kind of want to shepherd it. And they still love it. They still love it. There's no real bad blood, which is great. And just to see them like kind of sketching and talking about it together, it's fantastic. But this property is interesting because it goes from these gritty black and white comics to the cartoons, which the cartoons basically had to establish who each turtle was. And that's where you kind of get the color coding, which I believe is from the comics, but they really, really establish it in the cartoon.
No, in the comics, they all wear a red bandana mask.
They all,
like,
okay.
They all just wear red. And then the animated series came around, and because it was geared towards kids, you had to make sure they were differentiated. So they color coded them. And then that's one of the main things from the animated series that carries over into the live action movie. But a big portion of this first movie is really largely dedicated and inspired by the first like two main arcs of the original 1984 comic.
Nice. And so that's where you get their color, the color coordinations from the comics. And then you also
animated
get animated series. Thank you. And then you get the personality a bit more too. But what I love about this, and I had the poster on my wall forever. It's like one of the first posters. It was, you know, the turtles popping out of like the manhole cover, just the logo, and it says like, we're no longer a comic or something like that. We're not a cartoon anymore. Is that maybe what it is?
I don't know. I know I have that as the thumbnail for the episode. As a kid, I legitimately just remember being blown away that they made the turtles real. I know we're not really talking much about the story right now, but I think the story is kind of meat and potatoes, like, or steak and potatoes. Like, it's pretty just straightforward. There is some really good stuff, but the main marvel of this movie is the animatronics and the stunt work. It's so wonderful. And you can see a lot of what the Jim Henson Creature Shop did in adapting their previous works. Like with Splinter, you can really see that like they took the model of the, like, I forget the name of the old like turtle looking guys from the Dark Crystal. They're like really hunched over with the long necks.
Skrillex? No, Skirix?
No, like I forget. I know it's not Skeksis. That's the bird people. But you can kind of see where the design of how those creatures moved in the Dark Crystal works in Splinter. They just like brought it down in scale. And you can see how it moves and everything. It looks very similar. And you can really just tell how the Creature Shop was able to adapt all this stuff and just minimize it and create it really effectively too. From what I understand, they were brought in relatively short term. Like they put everything together in like 18 weeks.
Yeah, this movie, even though the cartoon was huge, by the time this movie came out, it was in this like third or fourth season. Toys were selling. They took this property to get made to basically every studio, and they're like, no, we're not doing a live action of this. Why would you? You want to do like a feature length cartoon? We did that like for Care Bears. We did for like the Jetsons. We're not doing live action. What are you guys doing? So it was independently produced with I think a fairly low budget, somewhere around 13, 14 million, somewhere in there.
And it held the distinction as the highest grossing independently made movie until the Blair Witch Project in 1999.
It made tons of money. But the real secret sauce of this dang thing is, as you said, the Jim Henson puppetry. Because in the second and third ones, they're not really involved. You can tell because like the facial work changes, the molting on of the color palettes, the just movability of the costumes just completely starts to fall apart. The rubberization of like armpit pockets, all this stuff just goes downhill after this film. These look so good that it has bothered me that the other live action movies haven't attempted to replicate it. We have so much better technology now. It is a person in a suit, but if you can get those kinds of facial expressions, you can get those kind of performers to give those, like every turtle, yes, they have a colored mask, they have their distinct weaponry, but they move a little bit differently. They're slightly different heights. Their posturing is differently, so you can know who is doing what. I would love to see them have attempted to do this again. Bring back Jim Henson, Stan Winston Studios, something who's modern puppetry. Just throw a suit on them, get some of those animatronics working in the head again, because it always takes me out, other than they're just not very good. But I am aware I'm watching something that has diminished in realism since 1990.
I need to go back and watch the second one. I did watch this on my original DVD release box set that I have, where they were literally just like, oh, people are buying DVDs. Let's re-release as much shit as we can. I haven't seen Ninja Turtles 2. The thing I remember most about it is that opening mall fight sequence. My favorite thing is when Michelangelo, because how they were able to shoot that movie in less than a year after this one released, like it came out almost exactly a year to the day from 1990 to 1991. Ninja Turtles 2 came out. I remember there was such backlash about them using their weapons in the first movie so that they basically just made the weapons not exist in the second one. But because Michelangelo's got those nunchucks and like it's such a cool visual, what do? Oh, let's give him some sausage links to nunchuck around and like the combat cold cuts. Yeah, I love that.
Since we mentioned it, props to the voice cast, because Brian Tochi's Leonardo totally works. Josh Pais is Raphael, Robbie Rist is Michelangelo, Kevin Clash is Splinter, Corey Feldman's Donatello, and
I always forget that. Just going back to Kevin Clash, he is also the voice of Baby Sinclair in Dinosaurs.
And you got to keep the family together, man.
He's the baby, gotta love him.
Like, every time I'm reminded of that, I always think, oh yeah, I guess he was Michelangelo probably, right? No, he's 18 years old doing the voice work of Donatello, and it works.
Who's like the turtle with the fewest lines as well.
Yeah. It's much darker than it is expected to be. It's a point I've been trying to make for like a while, is that going from like the comic to the softening of the cartoon, that they went, no, we're going to be an adult movie, because the turtles are going to stab people. The turtles are going to cuss. We're going to have a major plot point be the clan attacking the turtles at April O'Neil, who's apparently also like a consignment store reseller upstairs. We're going to have a major fight be happening in there, with the place burning down, with the Foot Clan having beat the hell out of Raphael and use him as like a bludgeoning ball to throw at the others.
I still love them just dropping him in a bathtub like a bag of bricks too. Like, we don't see them drop him in there, but he was clearly not gently placed there.
And then they take this like 15-minute detour, and Raph is just in a tub the whole time. And all the turtles are like grieving around him. April has this beautiful little monologue while she sketches him, which is also just tragic. Like, hey, I know you guys are like suffering right now. I'm just going to sketch your brother dying in a bathtub and you weeping next to him, and I'm just going to keep it.
Leo, I know you're tired and you're just sitting there, but can I draw you like one of my French girls, please?
Exactly. When Splinter gets captured and he's being tortured, like just repeatedly beaten by Shredder, it's like, what in the heck is this children's movie? And
it's not a children's movie. No. It's an all ages movie. Like that's one of the distinctions. Yeah. It's one of the distinctions we keep trying to make with animation, is that animation is a medium. Movies are made with most animated movies are made with the intention of this is appropriate for all ages, but there are exceptions where they're like, oh, let's use animation to make kids content.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie was made with the intention of adapting that original Eastman and Laird comic book arc just for the big screen, condensing it, obviously taking some inspirations from the animated series to help probably promote the movie in a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, like you had mentioned, Ninja Turtles is like the biggest property in the world in 1990, from 1987 to 1990. Like there's nothing bigger than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you're between the ages of like 4 and 10, that is the biggest thing in the world right now. Going into 1990, like all you have to do is say Ninja Turtles movie, and probably a lot of kids are really excited for it. I know it didn't make like the most money that it could have, but like we said earlier, it's an independently produced film. It didn't really get to as many screens as it could. And I'm sure part of it was parents saw how like kind of gross the turtles looked. So they were like, you just watch the brightly colored animated show. That's fine.
For its time, it made 202 million worldwide, 135 for that in the US. That's massive. That is a massive haul for a quote unquote independent film. And to show like that the parental backlash was wrong, they toned down the second one, released it a year later. It didn't even make half of that. And then the third movie made even less. So it's very interesting to see, like, you want to complain about the violence in the film, don't take the kids to it then. And then when they tone it down, you're like, well, we're not going to go see that one because it's just not very good. Well, what's not very good? Well, they didn't take it seriously. Cold Cut, that is just great. But there is some weirdness to that one. And they were pushing hard to like, synergy, collaboration, because maybe the most famous thing about the second one is the ninja rap with Vanilla Ice. Which, hey, go ninja, go. You have to. It's fantastic.
You have to.
I love that thing, man. Vanilla Ice, it gets brought up every once in a while to him, like I see in interviews and stuff like that. And he's like, heck yeah, because he's like, yeah, I made a ton of money off of that. It was great. I'm tied to Ninja Turtle lore forever. Something I love about this film is the little beats that it gives to have the turtles showcase that they are teenagers that have some awkward but also very fun snark to them. Like the beginning part where they're waiting for the pizza to be delivered, and it's like whatever, it's like and a half or something like that, and the guy's walking around, the pizza delivery kid, who I think is one of the turtles.
Yeah, 122 and an eighth.
Yeah, that's what it is, 122 and an eighth. That's it. And he's looking around, and I believe that is one of the turtles.
Yeah, they all get to interact with their counterparts in some fashion, except for Corey Feldman. So, like, I believe it's all the puppeteers in the suits that get to have moments. So, Donatello or Michelangelo is the guy delivering the pizza. He's having a little scene with himself after he dubs over the shoot, and then Donatello's puppeteer is actually the guy who gets beat up by Splinter's henchman in that one scene where he's like, "Never bow your head to an enemy." Never take your eyes off an enemy. And then when Raphael is chasing Casey Jones, he does a somersault over the taxi. Raphael's puppeteer is the guy in the back seat. He's like, what the hell was that? And he's like, it looked like a big turtle in a trench coat. You heading to 58th and 10th? And then I forget Leo's engagement with his puppeteer. But those are the three that I can remember off the top of my head.
But like in that moment, because it's a pizza delivery guy looking for an address that doesn't exist, and they finally get his attention, and so he slides it between the grates. They yank it away from him. He does a money exchange. He's like, "What is this?" He's like, "Wise men once said, never pay full price for a late pizza."
Forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for a late pizza. That entire scene is another one that just sticks with me because I love Donatello coming down, trying to have a heart-to-heart with Mikey. And Mikey's just not even paying attention. He's just focused on how long it's been since he ordered the pizza. He's just sitting there. Pizza dude's got 30 seconds. And then he's like, you ever think about what Splinter said when, he might not be around forever? He takes a second, thinks about it. Time's up. $3 off.
It's because it's just true. It's true to their personalities, and they establish them so quickly. And like, just that Raph is the one who immediately is like ticked off, goes above ground, grumbling himself. Apparently, you just get these great moments, and it really does establish as Leonardo as the one bonded to Splinter, who is trying to commune with him and like be the leader because he fears Splinter is going to fade. Donatello is kind of like the calm, wise one with the group, trying to be personable with everybody. And then you just got Michelangelo not giving a damn about anything, and Raphael just being pissy, which I love that this Raphael is, because the later cartoons and movies, they've made him like super bulky, which I haven't particularly liked. Like, I get that he's supposed to be like, they're trying to establish like he's the ragey berserker one, but I just kind of like that he's just the one who's willing to take more risks because he's looking for a fight. He's looking for trouble. And so when that really gets established with him fighting Casey Jones, because they both have different beating up muggers styles of how they do it, it's really good because it's not like this really hulking, angry person who's intimidating. It's this turtle who's no bigger than the others. They're a little bit smaller than the other people, than the humans. And he's just really trying to let his aggression out as best he can. I love that interaction when Casey Jones gets out the cricket bat. And
so we need to go back real quick because I love that you brought up the Casey Jones introduction, because I haven't seen this movie legitimately in like 10, 15 years in its entirety. And I've forgotten a lot about it because I get washed over with the wave of nostalgia from when I was a kid. And like, there are things that I remember as the dialogue comes through, but the Raphael stuff with this most recent watch through that we did really hit me because he's the emotional linchpin of the movie in the sense that he's kind of the character growth for the entire group of turtles, because Splinter is obviously like the thing that causes their emotional journey in the film. But Raphael is the one who has been going on the journey the entire film. Everyone else kind of starts that journey and ends that journey with Splinter disappearing and then them having their fight with Shredder. But Raphael is in this moment where we see how aggro he is after he loses the Psy, and then he's determined to get it back. And Splinter's like, just let it go, man. We'll get you another one. We'll figure out a way to get another one. Someone will flush it down the toilet soon, I'm sure. But there's more to life than this person just randomly finding the Psy. They're not going to piece it back to us. It's fine. But he is so determined to right his mistake because the idea is they must never be seen. They must never be caught. He left evidence. He can fix it. And then he goes to the movies because he needs to unwind, and he bumps into Casey Jones after this mugging happens. And Raph is like, hey, they got caught. They got the snot beat out of them a little bit. They've learned their lesson. And Casey's like determined to beat them to a pulp and within an inch of their life. And Raph is like, they don't need a lesson like that. Not from someone like you. Mm-hmm. So he gets it. He understands. And he was like letting out a little bit of aggression, but he was still doing the right thing to do the right thing, where Casey Jones is really the vigilante of the film. Oh yeah. And he's the one that kind of needs to be reeled in to show Raph where he's about to go if he keeps going down this angry path. And I love that. But you also get some really great lighthearted moments in that whole sequence with Casey Jones. It hits so much harder when he catches that first bat swing from Casey Jones and you hear him go, a Jose Canseco bat? Tell me, you didn't pay money for this. And with all the steroids, like, if you don't know who Jose Canseco is, that means nothing to you. And as a kid, it meant nothing to me. I didn't know what the hell he even said. But now as an adult, I know who Jose Canseco is, and like the cheating and the steroids and all this other stuff about him being an absolutely horrible person, allegedly. I love that line all the more. And then when Casey goes, 2-for-1 sale, pal, like, what can you do? Even back in the 90s, like, God, Jose Canseco fucking sucks.
See, the line that sticks to me about that fight is when he pulls out the cricket bat and then Raphael goes, you got to know what a crumpet is if you're going to understand cricket. And as a kid, hysterical. I didn't know what a crumpet was until like I started watching. So I started watching Great British Bake Off. Now I know what a crumpet is. Now the joke is even funny, but it's just great because the posturing is like he's like gesturing like to one side, like you gotta know what a crumpet is, and then to the other, if you don't know what cricket is. And he's so intent on making his sarcasm that he just gets clipped in the damn head.
Which apparently the puppeteer, when they dropped him into the trash can, apparently the head caved in and he broke his nose. So like you can, as he's like rolling out of the trash can, before it cuts, you can kind of like see him grab his face because he's like, God, my nose.
Oh yeah, because they have little TV cameras in there and everything.
Yeah, there's cameras. There's all the mechanics to get the mouth moving and like all the puppetry stuff. So those heads weighed like 25 pounds on their own.
Another thing I really dig about this movie is that if you take this movie and you take a movie that came out 10 years later, which is Fast and the Furious, apparently there was no technological development between those 10 years, because in Fast and the Furious, they're boosting VHSs and DVD players. And in this movie, they're just boosting VHS players and TVs, which I kind of like. I actually find it interesting that the Foot Clan is basically like wayward kids, unhoused kids and stuff like that are trying to do this found family thing, and what they're doing it around is Shredder and like trying to become the Foot, a member of the Foot, and the way they're doing that is by just stealing left and right. And so the first real scene we get with April's interaction with the Turtles is she's a reporter trying to like talk about the Foot. Shredder sees the broadcast, has a great grumble, he's got a great voice, throws a knife into like one of the TVs, like thunder, silencer. I just love how his orders are 2-word punctuations. So a few members of the Foot try to beat her up. She gets, what does she take out of her purse? Is it like mace? Is it tasers?
I think she just drops her keys. I don't think she actually had anything.
Oh, is it later when she pulls out like one of the sais?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's the one who grabbed Raphael's lost sai, and then she tries to use it in the subway station.
Yeah,
because she just happens to happen across a robbery as she's leaving work, and then the find her silencer part is at the before the train station happens.
So there's already a little bit of interaction there because she finds his lost sai that he used to break a light so that they could fight in the darkness. And then they go into that fight and then that subway fight starts to happen. And I love that you really don't see the Turtles fighting until about that moment, because the first time it's just all quiet and it's just all these little sound effects of everything happening, because they really are trying to bide the time for you to see the turtle suits in action. And it's this wonderful tease. And by the way, the Foot Clan outfits look freaking great. I know they're just like little geese and little like nylons and stuff like that, but the masks, the way like they do kind of like the little bubble eyes over it, it's just so great. It looks good.
The costume design is on point with this movie. There's the Casey Jones mask is pitch perfect. The costume design is on point with everything. But the build up towards the reveal of the Turtles, I think, is absolutely perfect, because you have the build up with April O'Neil setting the stakes for the movie. The Foot Clan is on a path of not destruction, but like they're just wreaking havoc on people's lives. And then you get the really quick shot of Raphael's eyes as he's holding up the manhole cover, waiting for an opportune moment to get his sai back, but he sees April grab it and he's like, damn. So then he's all pissy about it. And then we cut down to the sewers, and even when the title pulls up, where you get the really fun theme that they reworked for this. It's not even like they could have taken the easy way out and probably paid Paramount or whoever owned the Ninja Turtles animated series theme a little bit of extra money. But no, they just went out and created their own new theme, and I thought it was really fun. The minute I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, like it's not as catchy because there's no lyrics to it as the animated series, but like it's still really good. But like even before you see the Turtles, the title card pops up and it's Donatello just jumping, and you see his shadow.
Yep.
And then after you see the title card, then it wipes away, and then you get the Turtles and you're righteous, awesome, all that stuff. This movie, even without the nostalgia, it is fun, because I couldn't. I've quoted a few lines from this, but like, give me a week, give me 2 weeks, I'll probably forget a lot of these lines again. Like, I don't know that it's entirely quotable in the sense that like you have Marvel stuff where they continually try to have one-liners. This movie isn't really built around one-liners. It's built around the moments that it creates. Because like I remember the moments. I think the one line that I always remember from this first movie is the God, I love being a turtle, but it's built around Michelangelo doing the head duck and he's in the moment. It's just so good.
What is it? I think my favorite part of it is like at the end you get a little humanity out of Shredder and they're all like doing their like catchphrases again. And that's when Shredder goes, my personal favorite was always Cowabunga.
Splinter, not Shredder.
Sorry, yes, thank you. Splinter was like, it's always Cowabunga.
And at that moment, I had realized they had not actually said Cowabunga yet, which I thought was a great callback because that is like their number one known phrase is Cowabunga. So like when they're sitting there trying to figure out like, how do we celebrate this? Do we go with righteous? One of them even says bitchin'. And it's like,
yeah, one of them does.
I didn't catch. I think it was Donatello even. And then Splinter interjects, and yeah, he's like, my favorite has always been Cowabunga. And it's like, holy crap, they have not said that yet. That's some restraint right there. That like, I don't know why Splinter thinks it's funny that he's the one who said Cowabunga. Like, maybe it's just because it's unexpected. But the thing that I think really, I don't want to say it bothers me. Mm-hmm. One of the things that always takes me out of the movie is how old they portray Splinter to be. Because the animated series, they take a little bit of a liberty with Splinter's origin, where instead of him being a pet rat to Hamato Yoshi in the animated series, he is Hamato Yoshi who gets hit with the mutagen and he becomes a rat. And then he raises the turtles and trains them. Whereas with the comic book in this movie, he is Hamato Yoshi's rat who has learned karate by watching Hamato Yoshi. And then they flee to America so that Hamato Yoshi can marry the love of his life. Shredder follows him. Oroku Saki follows them to the States, murders him, injures Splinter. And then Splinter ends up in the sewers, finds the ooze, finds the turtles, and history happens. Like, I understand that to be a ninja master, Splinter probably has to be at least a few years old at this point. And the turtles are supposed to be very, very young. But they treat him like he's like 85, 90 years old. And the turtles are 15 to 19 years old, somewhere in there, at least physically and emotionally.
I've always taken that, which, by the way, that little scene of him explaining his backstory with the little animatronic rat doing kung fu moves, adorable. Well, ninjutsu moves.
I love the whole Muppetness of that sequence where the background fades to black and you just have the Splinter puppet talking to April or Danny in the black background in those moments. It is beautiful. And it puts your focus on this animatronic rat that feels alive. Like that rat, when he talks, he looks like he's talking. The syncing is great with that rat puppet. The turtles are very hit and miss. They do a really good job of making them move around and like move their mouths out of frame just a little bit so that you can the immersion doesn't break too badly. But the Splinter puppet, because of how he speaks and the importance of what he says when he speaks, he has to be in frame. And they do such a great job making sure you are paying attention to what he is saying. And they do a great job of making it seem like he is saying it through that puppet.
Part of the reason why, my personal opinion, why they make Splinter so old in this one is I wonder if they're kind of going on that, like, you know, turtles live like, 200 years, something like that. But maybe rats only live like 20 in captivity or something like that. So maybe they're trying to play that with a little. I also partially wonder if it's because the turtles are so big, they can be bulky. You can have a person in them. Whereas the animatronic for Splinter is like, well, we got to kind of make it smaller and it's going to look more frail. It's like, we're just going to have to play up he's old, okay? But what I love about how the age and frailness of Splinter is that when he gets captured and Shredder like is beating on him and then like he's speaking to Danny, they just play up like he's such an old man. Like when they release him from when Danny finally kind of turns around and releases him from the handcuffs to get him out of there. I know there's no one in that, but the way that they interact with it, so that it seems like probably the animatronic did collapse into his arms because they're like, well, the only thing holding it up is that. But I just love that, and I love that so much. Which I didn't realize this until it was pointed out later to me. The whole sequence after Splinter gets captured, the turtles get beat up because of Danny, the character of Danny, who is the son of her boss.
Yeah, he's the son of April's director, studio head, whoever for the news. He's supposed to be the J. Jonah Jameson, essentially.
He wants to make better inways into the Foot Clan. So Shredder's like, I will, like, anyone who knows anything about these turtles, tell me. And he raises his hand like, oh, I actually kind of know where they are. So it ends up with some people being captured, a big fight, Raphael getting his ass handed to him. And they go out to April's, also apparently has a farmhouse, which, by the way, great on April. A journalist making her way up at a small news station, having that big store and a farmhouse. Bravo to her. Just still, like, I would not have been shocked at all if later on in the movie, like, actually, I have another place if you guys need a new hideout. But when that fight happens, I love that fight so much because it's set during the day. They're like, three of the turtles are getting a tour by April of that shop. Raphael's up on the roof, and I love the comedy of the back and forth of, like, they're like, hey, should we go find Raph? No, he's having the time of his life, and he's like getting just beat up. He's like, I'm sure I love that because Raph was having the time of his life at first because he was beaten up. Like, there was only a few of them, and he was beating them all up. He's like, this is great. I'm releasing some aggression. These are our bad guys. Casey Jones apparently lives nearby because he's like sees this turtle practicing ninjutsu on a roof. And then all of a sudden, all that great shot, and the music was perfect, of him like, I'm gonna need more of these guys. And all of a sudden you see there's like 12 more coming in from like different parts of the roof on the nearby buildings, which is, as you said, they then throw him down into it through the ceiling. I love that fight too. That is where you first see the turtles like all really fighting, having fun, using various things around that shop. Some of the turtles getting their heads banged on a piano. Which one is it that gets their head dunked in a
that's Donatello.
Tank? Yeah, and he spits water at the back.
And it's a really effective shot too, because obviously you're not going to be able to dunk the head in actual water. So you can, given our understanding of modern cinema, you can tell that he's just like behind the thing, or they even like just filmed him vertically, and then they flip the frame so that it looks like he's in the fishbowl. There's a lot of stuff that they do that now as adults we can kind of pick up on it, but as a kid you don't notice those things. And it's, that scene is really great, and it's one of the moments that I realized that for all the calls of violence in this film, even though, yes, like Leonardo is throwing his swords around, he never makes contact with anyone until, I believe in that scene, he like swings them behind someone's legs. He never makes contact with anyone in the film with his swords. Like he's always using them to like move them in a direction. He's not using them to actually like chop at someone.
Yeah, like Michelangelo is whacking people with nunchucks because nunchucks. Donatello is bonking people left and right.
Yeah, those are like blunt force objects where they're not stabbing or slicing.
Yeah, and Raph is doing the same thing. He's like stabbing them, but they're size. They're just kind of like, he's more like poking and kicking them. But yeah, Leonardo, every time he does actually swing at somebody, they like duck it and then like he kicks them or something. But you're right, he does a lot of that whole redirection thing. And the only people who are actively trying to like commit murder are the Foot Clan with those giant,
and Casey.
And Casey. Yeah. Actually, well, he's the one who technically killed Splinter at the Shredder at the end.
Oops.
The only people actually, the only people actively trying to commit murder are the Foot Clan when they come in with the battle axe.
There's so much I'm saying I love a lot about this movie. It's because I do genuinely love this movie. I always forget how much I enjoy this movie because it just kind of falls to the wayside, because like, as much as I loved Ninja Turtles as a kid, Power Rangers kind of took over a lot of that for me. But this movie just, it not only does it have a special place in my heart, but it is just a special piece of cinema because it's an unfiltered piece of media that was made by people who understand the core concepts of the Ninja Turtles, and it's before it kind of got bastardized because of standards and practices and calls for less violence in these kids movies, even though at this point in time we're still watching Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and
RoboCop.
They're manufacturing toys for RoboCop. Terminator 2 is about to come out, and like it's nowhere near as bloody and violent as any of those things, and I think the PG rating is very warranted. I think it's really great that this movie exists as it does because as we've mentioned, when you get into Secret of the Ooze, all of a sudden, even like within the year when they're already in pre-production getting ready to film this thing, they get the call ahead where it's like they can't use their weapons in this movie. Yeah. Even Michelangelo and Donatello, who have the blunt force objects, they can't use them. Figure something out. From what I remember of that movie, they do a pretty good job working around it. It's just really convoluted as to like, oh, time for another fight. Oh, I lost my swords. Oh, I lost my size. Oh, better use some impromptu things. But overall, I really just, you have to applaud the effort and the love put into this movie. Apparently, even Jim Henson was not really on board with this. Like, he didn't like the tone. He didn't like the violence, but he knew the director from, I think it was The Dark Crystal. Maybe it was something else that they had worked on together, but I think it was The Dark Crystal. But they knew each other from back in those days. And Henson was like, yeah, I know who you are. I know your characters. So let's make this happen. And that's where they got the creature designs from the Jim Henson Creature Shop. So like it's a labor of love and a testament to what can happen with a product if people who love the product are able to make something while also understanding the media it's being adapted into. Unlike now, where like everything is just IP, everything is just viewed as IP and potential franchises. I'm sure they were hoping this would be a franchise. It's the Ninja Turtles. They were running on season 2 or 3 of the animated series, and they knew there was something there with the younger generation for these characters. But to make a movie is back then, especially like any movie that gets made, it's a cliche to say, but like any movie that ever gets made, it's a miracle that it's been made. But for a movie with this quality of pre-production, with this quality of puppetry, animatronics, for the budget it was made for, and the money it made, it's insane that it did so well. And like the fact that they were already working on a sequel by the time this one released, like they knew what they had.
Yes. So like major props to director Stephen Barron. He followed this movie up with Coneheads, which I find so weird because like if I was looking at those movies back to back, I couldn't pick that they would be the same director.
No.
Yeah, the writers, Todd W. Lingen, Bobby Herbeck, fantastic. And this I find interesting. The first, because this has 3 editors, because apparently they were really trying to find this movie in the edit. And one of the main editors was Sally Menke, who was Tarantino's editor all the way through Inglourious Bastards. So she understood how to do playful violence. But there's 2 more things I want to talk about this movie, and I didn't realize until it was pointed out to me, because one of them is, speaking of the whole like finding in the edit, when they're at the farm, which turtle is on the roof screaming in anger about Splint and screams out Splinter?
I'm pretty sure that's Raph.
Correct and incorrect, my friend. If you look back at it, the voice is Raph, but if you look at the body, you can see the nunchucks. It's Michelangelo.
Interesting. Did your copy of the movie have like a silhouette of a person in the background as he's yelling Splinter?
Yes. I have no idea what that is or if that's intentional or not, but they're supposed to be during the farm scenes where they're kind of recouping before they do a ninjutsu bonding and astral project talk to Splinter about going back to take everything, to take back the sewers and take the fight to the clan. They're supposed to be like a 5-10 minute sequence where Michelangelo is no longer playful. he's angry about what's going on. So like he's supposed to be like in the barn beaten up, like apparently they're supposed to be like an old punching bag, like the full body ones, not the speed bag but the big ones. And he's like supposed, and like Donatello and Leonardo are supposed to be talking him down. It's why they kind of like show some of the whole like Donatello and Casey are kind of bonding, and Leonardo is just hanging out near Raph. So April was supposed to be kind of like mothering and calm and like getting interaction with Michelangelo and him giving up his anger in that moment. So that's why they had, but when they were like, listen, that's just way too much. That's just another storyline. We're getting rid of all that. They kept that moment because it's like, yeah, Raph's awake now and he's angry that they took his father. And so they just dubbed his voice.
I can fully understand that. And I mean, it's not uncommon for that sort of thing to happen with the Ninja Turtles because in the animated series, even in the pilot, there's like 4 or 5 sequences where the wrong turtle is speaking with the wrong voice. Like it happens all the time in the animated series, especially in the early episodes before like the editors understand whose voice is whose. So I get that. And I can understand because if Michelangelo is going through that arc in a 10-minute sequence, Raph has been going through that arc from the beginning of the movie. So you're just putting a hat on a hat at that point.
The other thing is, I love the tonal shift from them fighting the clan in the sewers at the end and just how they're on skateboards. They're hiding in like sewer piping so that, April's hiding in sewer piping with the big metal bar that, what is it? I think Donatello is like just backing up Foot Clan to get to her, and there's like a pile of bodies at her end because he's just using her to smash them.
It's I think it's Leonardo who's doing it because I think he's using his swords to lure her, which I think that's where I clocked that like, oh, he's been using his swords defensively this entire time.
Oh, okay.
But I love that scene because it's the first time the turtles are also on the front foot again, no pun intended, against the foot. Because every other time they've been reacting, whereas this time they've set up this trap for the Foot Clan, and so they're the ones with the advantage and the benefit of surprise. So like all of that plays really well because, like you said, now they get to have those moments where they're skateboarding while they're fighting and doing all these other things. And I love the way that that you start with the Foot Clan like sneaking in, they're climbing through the sewer drains to go meet Pennywise, and they're going through the manhole covers and all these other things, and then within 5 minutes they're climbing out of those exact same spots. And I just, even as a kid, I was like, oh, it's funny because it's the reverse of what they were doing. They thought they were being so clever going down and entering the turtles' domain, and now all of a sudden they're being kicked out because they underestimated the turtles.
To go from that to them chasing the Foot Clan up the ladders to where apparently there was a trap, I guess, being set with Shredder. I love the tonal shift, not only the music, but the framing and the fight of the 4 turtles going after Shredder. And you see them kind of fighting together, but kind of one-on-one. I mean, I do love that they all went after him like one-on-one, and it's like, this guy doesn't realize we're the good guys.
That's a great line.
Yeah, and they start doing paper, rock, scissors to see who's going to take him on next.
I do think the fight choreography takes a real significant dive in quality when Shredder shows up. I don't know if it's because the Shredder actor or the stunt person like could not act as well, or they were just really hampered by how poorly the puppeteers can move, or the stunt people can move in the turtle suits. I'm not sure, but like Leonardo, who's the leader and arguably at this point kind of like presumed to be the best fighter of them as the leader, his move to take on the Shredder, who just knocked out their tank in Raphael, is to do a diving stab, and Shredder just takes a step to his right and slaps him on the back. Like, come on, man.
That choreography is not as good as the sewers and some of the other fights. I agree. I think you're probably right. It's probably a mixture of those are heavy suits and this is a lithe person. And so how do we slow him down so it interacts better with them? But at the same time, they were just whooping on all the Foot Clan. So I don't know. But I do really enjoy seeing that the person they're fighting is not fighting with one of their weapons. So it's not same versus same. It's not, oh, he has like all their weapons. He has a spear and he's working it. I do like that he stops playing with them once Leonardo actually gets a slice on him. I really dig that. It is a weird movie, right? That they kill off the bad guy, and not only kill him off, they kill him because he decides to fight evilly against Splinter. Splinter's just trying to teach him a lesson.
I do really like Splinter's one-liner where he's like, when you die, you will die without, and Shredder falls and Casey crushes it. He's like, without honor. And oh, damn, Splinter was going to throw some shade, but he didn't get an opportunity, but he still had to say it.
I can find so little to hate with this movie because it is a perfect amalgamation of the sum of the part. The product is better than the sum of its parts, wherein you have just Jim Henson on fire. You have a great voice cast. Casey's great. April is great. The director understands the assignment, over delivers. The writers took the love of that original arc, as you said. The music is great, even though they don't use the cartoon music. They somehow found the movie and the edit, the cinematography. They take it so seriously. No one, like, I can feel that no one on set was walking around going, "What the hell are we shooting, dude? These are turtles with these bug-eyed masks fighting. They're fighting just random dudes. What is this?" No, everyone's just like, "Dude, we are going to deliver the best possible product we can with this." I don't feel that they went into this as, this is a child's property, so we're just going to goof off as much as possible. No, man. One of my favorite parts of it is when they're making those jokes right before the fight in April's drop. They are kicking that stunt guy in the turtle suit around. They are slamming him into walls. You can see they're connecting with him. They are treating these suits as something to not protect, but to, like, it's padded. You're gonna absorb it. You'll be fine.
It's 75 pounds of foam rubber. You'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're wearing a pillow all over you. You're fine. And so I love it because you can feel the impact. It's just the perfect timing of like a late 80s. We can treat kids like adults. They'll understand it. Their parents will talk to them at home. But also, it's right before they really started kind of clamping down on, maybe it's not a great idea that every R-rated property should actually be a children's story. I can go ad nauseum on hating the other two movies just because they just lost something. Even with higher, but like the next movie had a budget twice as high as this one, but they didn't get some of the April. Wait, no, was it April who didn't come back, or Casey?
The April didn't come back, and they also didn't bring back Casey. They replaced him because the stunt person for Donatello, I believe, is the guy who comes back as the kid. I forget the kid's name in the sequel, but they like gave him a legitimate role because he was just like such a wonderful person to work with, I guess.
Yeah, Corey Feldman didn't come back. He came back for the third one. I remember that because I vaguely have a memory of him saying like he got paid like very little for this.
I think he got paid like $18,000 total.
And so when he asked more for the sequel, they went nope. But then they struck a deal with the third one or something like that. But it's a dang near perfect movie for what it is, and I can't fault that. That's
a really great way to segue, because you were talking a little bit about like there's room for mistakes. There's all sorts. It's an independent film that's been jerked around for a while, and there is a lot of room for mistakes. And the only mistake you can really find in this film, in terms of like production quality, continuity, whatever it may be, is there's that one scene after Raph wakes up from the bathtub. April and Donatello are standing in the door frame, and Donatello laughs, and you can see the puppeteer through the mouth as Donnie's like leaning back and forth laughing, and you can see like the eyes really quickly. And like there's a meme about like how horrifying this image is, but you literally have to freeze frame the movie to see it.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, I caught it this time because I was looking for it, because I'm like, oh, let's see how noticeable it is. You have to be looking for it to see it. Like someone just was going through this movie and paused it at the right moment and it became a meme. Like that's all it is. In terms of the production quality, you cannot find a fault with this movie because it sets out what wants to do and it succeeds. There's not much else you can say about it. So if you have more to say about it, you can join the Discord. Alex, please let them know about it.
Please join our Discord. It's tsmackpod@gmail.com. There's a link down below, and you can see us posting news that is just relevant for Mr. Josh, like that Scrubs is coming back for season 10. Yes, there was a season 9. There was a season 9, Josh.
There was a spinoff that they called season 9, but it was actually season 1 of a spinoff. I'm sorry, but you're wrong.
Do you feel old that everybody in that picture of the cast read has gray hair?
Very much so, and more so that I'm getting so many more gray hairs as well. But you can tell me how not young how old you can tell me how not old I sound. I know our friend Kat, when I first told her how old I was, she was like, nah, you're like 25, 26. Like, nah, I'm like 34, 35. She's like, fuck off. So you can join the Discord. The link is in the episode description. If you want to follow us on Talking Smack Pod, if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us at Talking Smack Pod on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube. Our TikTok is gone. I did decide to just bite the bullet and close that out. We didn't use it, and the government's taking that over, so just not going to use it. You can email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com about your questions, comments, concerns. If you have suggestions for future Nostalgia-thon episodes, if something's celebrating a 10 or a 5-year anniversary, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 15, 25, 35, whatever, let us know. We'll add it to the list. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes. Thank you to Beppo for our original avatars, Retroless Studios for our Ricky avatar. Please like, subscribe, rate, review on your podcatcher of choice. There's a TV show out there that people should be watching, Alex. What is it? Why do I always think this is shorter?
Watch Star Trek.
Game's dragging on. There's strikes on the batter. Some runners are on. Then suddenly everyone's looking at me. My mind has been wondering what could it be. They point to the sky and I look up above, and a baseball falls into my glove. I play right field. It's important you know. You gotta know how to catch. You gotta know how to throw. That's why I play in right field, way out where the dandelions grow.
As a proud sponsor of Little League Baseball, Pizza Hut welcomes all the kids who make it great.
Making it great.
Pizza Hut, not a sponsor, but should be.